The inverse square law shows that light, electromagnetic radiation, gravity, and electricity all obey the same scaling rule. The Doherty set is, among other things, a series of cascading spherical pressure gradients. The projective supergeometry is a simplex, but it is nonetheless doing only one thing, which is repeating the initial Bessel function iteratively over and over again, like a beating drum, recursively building up progressive geometry along an interconnected chain-like so-called spacetime, or more accurately, a plasma fractal. Yes, Birkeland currents are fractal. A fractal is a curve or geometric figure, each part of which has the same statistical character as the whole. Fractals are useful in modeling structures, such as eroded coastlines or snowflakes, in which similar patterns recur at progressively smaller scales, and in describing partly random or chaotic phenomena such as crystal growth, fluid turbulence, and galaxy formation. The Doherty set can be thought of like the Mandelbrot set, but instead of exploring the complex and imaginary fields and fractions, this scalable geometry exposes plasma, or ether, or what mainstream cosmologists refer to as the just mentioned space-time, to be fractal. Speaking of fractal, let's look at the Mueller set. The Mueller fractal is the basis of global scaling. Developed by Hartmut Mueller, we can observe the similarities here in how octaves as well as harmonies of sound also abide by similar scaling laws. So one might intuitively assume that fundamentally, on every scale, there must exist this wave nested within wave behavior, and indeed, that is exactly what the Doherty set is. Is it possible that in a universe of electromagnetic induction, the Doherty set is the master key of electromagnetism itself, and in the big picture, perhaps the geometry of the electric universe model? I met Professor Donald E. Scott at the Thunderbolts EU 2017 conference for the sole purpose of showing him my cartographs and geometry. Don was baffled and exclaimed that I discovered it before him, which we will find out many people were onto this idea before us. So I then gave my whole body of work to Don Scott for a review, and he said, quote, "Buddy, I have examined, I believe, all the links and YouTube videos you sent me. They are quite impressive because you are clearly able to include the wild complexity of what the interior structure of a Birkeland force-free field-aligned current would look like if we were able to get inside one. Nice work. I see that you are aware of the complex structure that my model says is inside a Birkeland current. But in another sense, the overall property is quite simple. It is a set of concentric spirals whose pitch angle increases smoothly and continuously with radial distance. It is important to understand that the words helix and vortex are not the same. They are not synonymous. A helix is a twisting spiral path wrapped around a cylinder. Example, a rope wound around an infinitely long pipe. That is the shape of a Birkeland current. On the other hand, a vortex is also a twisting spiral path, but it is like a rope wound around a cone. It is of finite length, not infinitely long. All vortices come to a point. They are not like a Birkeland current, many of which are light years in length. Markland convection is a physical process that goes on in a certain class of Birkeland current. It depends on there being actual charged particles and electric fields present to interact with each other. A process is very different from a shape, but a shape can also be many processes. Now, let's compare all of this to the spiral periodic table of elements. Here's Walter Russell's periodic table of elements.